weave my way through here. First of all, I want to tell you about a couple of events that are coming up. As I mentioned before, they put together a bit of a marketing team, and so it had been a while since Natalie, myself, and our little daughter Evangeline had gone on vacation. So we took a 10-day trip. We jumped on an Allegiant plane at a Grand Forks and headed for the Sunshine State. And I tell you, when I got back, the marketing team had planned not one, not two, but three support-raising concert tours. Now, usually, in my years of doing it, I would do one, and I was just beat by the end of it. And these guys went and planned three. So this is the first of the three. There's a couple more coming up. I think there's a slide for it, right?
Which one do you want?
Matt Falk. He's going to be, I keep thinking he's going to be singing. I guess I do introduce so much music. He's a comedian, actually. And he's going to be in Winnipeg next Saturday night at 7 at Morrow Gospel Church, and in Winkler at the PWN Centennial Concert Hall next Sunday night at 7. So if you're kind of thinking, man, that winter's gone on long and I could sure use a good laugh, join us at either Morrow Gospel in Winnipeg Saturday night at 7 or the PWN Centennial Concert Hall in Winkler Sunday night at 7. And then the three Heath brothers will be back to do a Western Canadian tour. Of course, last year they did just Manitoba. This time they're going to do Winkler, Winnipeg, and then travel on to Saskatoon and Edmonton and Three Hills. So if you've got friends in those areas, this is the first time these guys are singing west of Manitoba. So if you enjoyed them here last year, please let your friends know that at the end of May, they're going to be singing all over the Western provinces. So those are some things that are coming up. Jared and Kristen, come on up, and we want to chat about your life and ministry. I'm sure most of you know Jared and Kristen, but here's a chance to get to know them a little bit better. So feel free to grab some lights. Yeah, I don't know, I'm sure the sound people will figure out which one it is.
You'd like the lights or something.
All right. They're booby-trapped. There you go. Well, I assume everybody knows our ministry team. So the first question, and I don't usually, like I mentioned, I'm usually not a detail guy. Usually you guys are up here going, what in the world's he gonna ask? Kind of thing. And this time, the marketing team gave me a list. So we're gonna actually have some direction in this interview. How do you like that? Perfect, yeah. Yeah, and I'm at that age where I almost need reading glasses or something. Share your names, and the ministry point where you serve.
So I am Jared Keller. This is my wife, Kristen. And we have, 4 kids. I don't know if this...
Oh, yeah.
Are they introducing our whole...
Sure.
Yeah, sure. We have 4 kids there. You can stand up, because I know you like the attention just as much as I do, so there's my kids. That's Jaden, Ari, Mateo, and Ben.
Excellent, good. So what are your roles at, you told people already which camp you serve at?
No, we're at Valley View Bible Camp, which is just by McGregor, 5 miles south of McGregor.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do there?
I am the facility manager.
Okay.
And, she's my wife. and a teacher and many other things as well.
Excellent, good. So, we talked about where the camp is. How would you describe it? Yeah, how would you describe Valley View Bible Camp?
Oh man, I don't know. What do you think? It's exciting.
Yep.
Beautiful spot. We love being out there.
Yeah, we're just into the hills, so it's very scenic. And I don't know.
How many campers in here?
In the summer, we would get about close to 700 campers. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe break it down for us. Are they mostly kind of Austin McGregor kids, Portage, Brandon kind of thing, or do you get people, campers from beyond into Winnipeg even?
Yeah. A lot are locals, but we do get quite a few from Winnipeg, inner city. Union Gospel Mission sends us kids every week, and often we do a camp just for them too. It depends how many kids they have. So.
Excellent. Good. So obviously you guys have come on in the last, 5-10 years. How did you get to camp? What was your journey that God took you on to get there?
Yeah, we've been there 7 years now, and it was pretty interesting. I went to camp as a kid, but had no, in between years I had nothing to do with camp really. You had a little bit here and there, so camp was never on our minds. And I was doing carpentry, and we we had a great job, and we ended up coming to Valley View for family camp with some friends. And through the weekend there, we're just like, well, you pointed out the maintenance guy there, and it's like, that'd be a fun job to do. I was like, yeah, it would be. Not thinking anything of it.
One day.
Yeah, one day maybe. Let's see. It turns out we get home and we get the newsletter, and the maintenance guy had left, and we're like, oh, interesting. We were just thinking about this. Where's it going to take us? And so we prayed about it. Long story short, we asked God for confirmation, kind of like how Gideon did, and because we want to be sure this is right. And He confirmed it a couple times, and very, very clear confirmation. So within a few months of finding out it was available, we were there working. So
Wow.
yeah, we picked up and moved, and it wasn't far, only less than an hour we had to move, but yeah, and it's been really good.
Good. Any highlights as you reflect on those 7 years? Anything come to mind? Go, man, that's a defining moment. That was that was like God had us here for that kind of thing. Anything come to mind? And this isn't in the notes. So.
No, it's not. Surprise question.
Oh, sorry. Next question.
No, it was actually really good timing because right when we started, the camp was doing its big expansion and building project,
Right.
which started like a month after I got there. So my years of doing construction and stuff kind of really came in handy. So that was kind of seemed like a God thing. So,
Yeah, sounds good. What is it about camp ministry that most resonates with you?
Well, yeah, for me, especially in the last few years, it just is seeing just the desperate need for Jesus. Especially like the times we're in, you never know, like we're in some pretty wild times, things happen in the world, and you just see the desperate need for Jesus, and so introducing the gospel to the kids at such a young age, I think is so important, and that's kind of what resonates right now. It's just getting the gospel out there as young as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know I mentioned at this event before, but I just love how you guys at Valley View, and this doesn't directly involve you in maintenance stuff, but the music and stuff, how the music is chosen. These kids are apparently walking to skills, singing Power in the Blood and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, getting the gospel in, even in the music that is chosen. So that is so, so cool. All right. How have you seen God leading you through the challenges? Have you had any challenges?
No, it's just been so easy. Yeah. There's always challenges, yeah. Man, you know what, like, my role is a little different. Like, I'm more behind the scenes and kind of get to watch things from a distance, but in my own life, like, in my own daily routine stuff, like, I'm learning new things all the time at camp. Like, it's introduced so many different things that I need to figure out. And I, being my human self, I kind of try and figure it out on my own all the time. And realizing if I just give it to God right away, like, He provides answers. He solves a lot of my problems if I just ask Him. And so that has been huge. It's just relying on God. And yeah, there's probably a lot of other examples too of God helping us.
For sure. No, that sounds good. Thinking back to last summer, maybe more recently, is there a story that particularly stands out for you that brought home this truth of God's grace and the deep love Jesus has for the kids we serve?
Yeah, so there again, I had to rack my brain. My memory is terrible, especially this far away from camp, but we're almost into a new summer of camp, but maybe not a specific story, but just it's kind of a reoccurring thing every year. Just these kids, especially from the inner city, they come from very hard home situations and come with hard hearts, and they test us a lot in how we react and stuff, and just seeing just reminded of God's grace in our lives. We need to pour that out on these kids as well. Like, they're pushing buttons, they're hard. But seeing God work through that in a week, just keep giving them grace and showing them Jesus' love. And a lot of them, they soften and they're into the music by the end and into they're learning things. And so, yeah, it's good to see. And we see that in a lot of the locals too, like homesick kids and just wanting to pack up and go home. And we're there in the evenings just helping them try and get settled in their cabins. And it's like, let's try another day, and just keep pouring love on them. And yeah, a lot of them stick around and they get to benefit from what happens at camp and here in Bookcrest. So, yeah.
Kristen, your turn.
So my role in the summer has been mostly watching our kids because they're growing up and doing all that stuff. So being there for our kids. The last couple of summers, I've been able to do a little bit more. So I've been able to be in the tuck shop, be at the camp more often. And so my focus has typically been a little bit more with the mission team. And so just trying to encourage them, trying to be there for them, pray for them, see where they're struggling. Just somebody to talk to. And so that's kind of the role that I feel like God has given me. And so just, what was the wording of your question? I just want to make sure I answered the way you wrote.
Is there a story that particularly stands out for you that brought home this truth of God's grace and the deep love Jesus has for the kids we serve?
Okay, so yeah, so my role typically would be more to kind of the third person, right? So I kind of hear about some of the things they're talking to their campers about, or some of the things they're personally struggling with, because there's a lot of young folks that come to serve at camp, and we're all still figuring ourselves out as older people sometimes too. And so just being able to hear where their heart's at, where they're learning new truths too as they're teaching other truths, and it's becoming more real, and they're seeing things that these kids are struggling with, and their heart is going up to them. And so I just have really enjoyed just trying to be a support for them and just bring them back to, okay, what does the Bible say about that, and where are we going with that? And I've learned a lot through that too, and then continuing actually sometimes throughout the year texting with these cabin leaders or these different things, and just trying to be available to meet them where they're at. So that's a little bit of a different part of that, but that's something that I've enjoyed doing and seeing the fruit of that. And yeah, God's moving in everyone's lives, so it's been really cool.
Yeah, that actually ties in with the next question. Are we finished? That was the first thought? Okay. God is working in the lives of the kids and youth we're serving, but also in the lives of leaders. How have you seen God at work in and through the team at camp? And I think you kind of mentioned that. Did you want to add to that or anything, or Jared, did you have anything else you want to share along those lines?
Yeah, we've had some amazing team over the last, well, since we've been there. We've had some amazing people come and serve. Just they've been really focused on the task at hand, presenting the gospel, and it's cool. In the last couple of years too, we've had a lot of our support from our local, not even surrounding area, Hutterite colonies as well. And I mean, they're very generous, and they give lots to the camp, a lot of help and material. But lately, they've been sending their young people as well to serve. We've often had them in the kitchen cooking, because they're amazing cooks. And but also, their young people are coming to help, even do cabinet leading and work skills, and just they come through some pretty tough weeks too. Kids giving them a run for their money. But at the end of the summer, the stories they tell, they're just so excited to see God working and are just ready to come back and do it again. And I mean, we see that with our local young people too, come help. But that's just been particularly encouraging to see.
Absolutely. Good. Final question, how can we pray for you going into the summer? So you might want to take mental notes of this. Those of you that are prayer warriors, how can folks be praying for you?
Yeah, going into summer, it's finding that team. That's a big one. It's funny, God always works it out, often at the last second, which we've come to accept. We like to, as humans, like to have things planned out ahead, but that's not always the way it works. So, yeah, prayer for our mission team that God would supply them, bring them in. What else? Yeah, energy, lots of energy.
Yeah, I think just praying that that we will, like you were saying, like when we bring things to God quicker, you know, He's ready to answer. And so I think just praying that we as mission team would just encourage each other with that through the year as well, this summer as well. Just we can try and do some things on our strength, but we need Jesus to help us get through, to stay healthy, to work as a team, to we don't know what we're walking into each week, and yeah, I think it's really good to keep that focus on Him, and yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're just incredibly grateful as well for an organization like One Hope, over that kind of heads up all these camps and gives us direction, and it's amazing. So what you're supporting is an amazing thing. I've heard it from other camps that aren't other than have One Hope that they wish they were.
Wow.
Because they've heard amazing things about One Hope, and we've experienced that with the leadership and everything. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Wow, and thank you, Jared and Kristen Keller from Valley View Bible Camp. Just want to share a few final points before we take up tonight's offering. I'll let the ushers prepare for that, but just want to share with you very briefly, last night in Steinbach, those of you that are from Gladstone might recognize the name Steve Elias. He actually was our interviewee in Steinbach, and one of our ushers, his name was Menno Unger. And both Menno and Steve came to faith in Jesus at Carberry Bible Camp many years ago. And they're now, Steve is now serving the Lord full-time at an Adult and Teen Challenge in Steinbach, and Menno is serving God as he sells vehicles at Lettingham Pontiac in Steinbach. So way back when, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, these young men came to Jesus at Carberry Bible Camp, and now serving the Lord in the holy city of Steinbach. Well, last year across our ministries, we had more than 35,000 children, youth, and families come through One Hope Canada camps and community ministries, and nearly 5,000 of those were here in Manitoba. The interesting stat that's behind that is more than half of the kids that attend camp don't have any gospel connection. So they're not your typical kids that are gathered around a table having devotions with mom and dad. They're not, necessarily praying before a meal. They're not necessarily in Sunday school and kids club in Awana or whatever on a weekly basis. Most of our kids, more than half, don't hear about Jesus, in a typical week's time. I don't remember which one of our camps it was, but some time ago, a cabin leader was telling a kid about Jesus, and the kid's like, Jesus, was he born before or after World War II? Kind of thing. These kids, some of them have no idea. But it's through partnership with you and your support that we're able to share, to have these kids come to camp at an affordable price where they can hear about Jesus. And it's through the support of God's people that is possible, because, if campers were to pay the actual cost of that week of camp, it would be closer to $1,000. But through donors, through events like this and other things, and various fundraisers, that brings the cost down to, what is it now, $350, something like that, for a week of camp. So thank you for your support in that. Your gifts also enable our ministry to develop quality training resources for frontline leaders. So our full-time, we've got about 200 missionaries coast to coast on a full-time basis, and each of them have to go through kind of a credentialing, training them in the basics of the gospel and the basics of evangelism, and also just kind of the foundational information about the ministry of One Hope Canada. There are also resources for follow-up and discipleship. We developed an app called Faith Spark that was just developed just before COVID, and was used for us to be able to do some virtual camps during those difficult years. And now churches and other ministries are using the Faith Spark app in youth groups and various other things, and people are finding it's much safer than a lot of the other social media things that people will generally turn to for communication in a group setting. So keep that in mind. There's information at the table about Faith Spark. We've also got a brand new French video series that teens and preteens that can answer some of their faith questions. You know, is there a God? You know, I just learned in university that there is no God, that, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it gives that foundation of truth in their heart language for those in Quebec. And so, so your giving helps us to develop those kinds of resources. Tonight, if you want to give online, can we go to the slide that, I think there's a credit card slide or something like that. Looks like someone's about to slide there. But, if you want to give online with your credit card or e-transfer, our website is onehopecanada.ca, and I think it's /giving or something like that, but you'd find it if you look around there. And then there's a QR code, and so, the slide's probably gone missing. Thank you so much for your generosity and for making a difference for eternity. So I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward. Let's stand to pray, and then we'll take up the offering and invite the Fair Family Band to come back and present some more music. Lord, we thank you for how you are changing lives at camp, and even to hear the stories of what you're doing today, and reflecting on stories of lives you changed even years ago, and that ripple effect that continues all these decades later in places like Steinbach, from a boy that chose you at Carberry Bible Camp so many years ago. And we think also of Dauphin Bible Camp, and the many that have come to faith through Dauphin Bible Camp, and the impact they are making, not only in the community of Dauphin, but also around the world. And so we thank you for the impact of your work in this community with these two camps in particular. Thank you for this opportunity to support the ministry of One Hope Canada, and we ask your blessing on gift and giver. In Jesus' name, amen. You may be seated.